Hello and welcome everyone. There's an astonishing fact that perhaps you've never heard before. Did you know that, according to statistics, a staggering 99% of deaths occurring after the age of 75 actually revolve around just a handful of core causes? Yes, you heard that right. 99%. This number is truly worth pausing to reflect upon. We often hear people say, she was old, passing away is just natural, as if age itself is an unavoidable death sentence. Many of us assume that declining health and eventually passing away in later years is simply the law of nature, something predetermined and unchangeable. But is that the whole story? Are we passively accepting a reality that we might actually be able to influence and change? The truth, a truth that might make you reconsider, is quite different. The vast majority of these deaths are not the inevitable result of natural aging. No, they actually stem from preventable risks. That's right, risks that, sadly, are often ignored, overlooked, or downplayed until it's simply too late. Like an old house, if not regularly maintained and repaired, it will deteriorate and collapse, not because it's old, but because it wasn't properly cared for. Our bodies are much the same. The challenging problem lies here. By the time most people start noticing something is wrong, perhaps a fleeting chest pain, an unexpected stumble, or breathing that's become increasingly labored, their health has often already begun a steep decline. The damage accumulated over many years has taken hold, and the options for intervention, for reversing the situation, become incredibly limited, costly, and much less effective. It's like trying to put out a raging fire with just a cup of water. And this is a critically important but, if you, starting right now at this very moment, take the time to understand and clearly recognize these potential dangers, you can absolutely take the necessary steps proactively to protect yourself. You can extend your life, not just in terms of the number of years lived, but more importantly, in terms of quality of life, in ways you might never have thought possible. This isn't magic, it's science and conscious choice. In this content, we will pull back the curtain together, delving deep into analyzing the five leading causes of death after age 75. These are the culprits responsible for nearly all fatalities in this age group. Some causes you might have guessed, they are quite familiar. But I believe there will also be other factors that surprise you, hidden corners you haven't considered. However, one thing is as certain as the sunrise. Understanding is the first and most crucial step on the path to prevention. These aren't just dry statistics on paper. Behind each number are real lives, real families, real smiles and tears, and most importantly, real choices. Seemingly small daily choices can make a tremendous difference between an old age struggling with illness, dependent on others, and a long, healthy, independent, and fulfilling life. Please stay tuned until the very end because I want to emphasize once again, these 5 causes are not inevitable. They are not predetermined fate. Reality has shown that by making small but meaningful changes in lifestyle, many people like your neighbor John or Mary from your book club, have successfully significantly reduced their risks. They have maintained their independence longer, driving themselves to the grocery store, cooking their favorite meals, enjoying life on their own terms. They have added not just a few years to their lives, but sometimes precious decades, full of vitality. The decisions you make today, whether it's choosing a salad over fries, walking for 30 minutes instead of watching TV, or simply scheduling a routine health checkup, can be the foundational bricks determining how strong, active, and independent you remain in the years ahead. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The journey to a long and healthy life also begins with small choices made today. Now, let's embark on this journey of discovery together. It's no surprise that heart disease tops this list. It remains the number 1 silent killer for people over 75 globally, and especially in the US, where modern lifestyles sometimes inadvertently create conditions for it to thrive. However, what's noteworthy and also offers the greatest hope is this. Many of us don't realize just how much control we actually have over our heart health. We are not passive victims waiting for fate to decide. Imagine your heart as a special muscle, a durable engine that has worked tirelessly since you were a fetus. And like any other muscle in your body, it needs proper care to maintain its strength and resilience. If nourished by a healthy diet, regularly exercised through physical activity, and protected from excessive stress, it will continue to function effectively for many years to come. Conversely, if neglected, poisoned by processed foods, saturated fats, and a sedentary lifestyle for years, it will gradually weaken, like an unmaintained machine. The tricky part is, the heart often doesn't speak up with early warnings. You don't always feel the danger signs until the damage is already significant. Many people assume that feeling a bit slower, getting tired more easily climbing stairs, or becoming short of breath after some exertion is simply a sign of aging. They tell themselves, "Oh, I'm just getting older, this is normal." But in reality, these could be faint cries for help from your heart, signs that it's not as strong as it used to be, that your circulatory system is encountering problems. And that's something that absolutely cannot be ignored. One of the biggest and most common enemies of the heart is high blood pressure. Imagine your arteries as flexible water pipes. High blood pressure is like constantly pumping water through that system with excessive force. Over time, this tremendous pressure damages the artery walls, causing them to harden, lose elasticity, and become prone to blockages or even rupture. Simultaneously, it forces the heart to work much harder to pump blood throughout the body. The cruelest twist? High blood pressure often causes no pain or obvious symptoms. You could be carrying this ticking time bomb for years without knowing. Nothing signals you to take action until a heart attack or stroke suddenly strikes. That's why so many people over 75, like Robert down the street, for instance, suddenly find themselves in the emergency room, bewildered, wondering how this happened to them when they felt perfectly normal just days before. The second major culprit is an unhealthy diet. Let's be honest with ourselves. How many decades have we spent consuming processed foods, fast food, too much salt, sugar, and unhealthy fats? These seemingly harmless daily choices slowly wreak havoc on our bodies. They raise bad cholesterol, LDL, cause inflammation within the blood vessels, and gradually form atherosclerotic plaques, like rust building up in pipes, clogging arteries and obstructing blood flow. And here's a point most people often overlook. The issue isn't just about avoiding bad foods. It's equally important to proactively eat good foods, the superfoods for the heart. Your heart needs high-quality fuel to stay strong. Omega-3 fatty acid from salmon and herring, fiber from green vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, antioxidants from berries like blueberries and strawberries. If your daily meals lack these crucial nutrients, the process of cardiovascular damage happens much faster than you think. Finally, we cannot ignore the lack of movement. The heart wasn't designed to sit still all day. When you stop moving, your circulation slows down, your muscles, including the heart muscle, weaken. The heart doesn't get the workout it needs. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Simply staying active in a way that works for you. A brisk walk in the park, a gentle yoga class, gardening, dancing, even simple chair exercises is enough to keep your heart pumping efficiently, maintain good blood circulation, and significantly reduce your risk of heart disease. The biggest mistake people often make is viewing heart disease as destiny. They hear about relatives who had heart attacks, or they assume it's just what happens with age. But that's not true. Your small, consistent daily choices add up. The food you eat, the way you move, how you manage stress, all play a decisive role. You have more power over your heart health than you might think. Don't wait. The choices you make today can shape your heart's strength for years to come. And the best time to start protecting it? It's right now. Not only does the heart need care, but safety in daily movement also becomes a major concern, leading us to a risk often underestimated yet incredibly dangerous after age 75. Falls and injuries. It's not a disease in the traditional sense, but a sudden event. It happens in an instant, a misstep, a moment of dizziness, a slippery floor. And suddenly, everything changes completely. A fall in youth might just cause a bruise, but after 75, the consequences could be a hip fracture, head injury, or other serious complications leading to loss of independence, bed confinement, and rapid health decline. Alarmingly, most people don't realize their vulnerability until an accident occurs. Falls are one of the leading causes of injury-related death in older adults, resulting in millions of emergency room visits annually. For many, just one fall is enough to trigger a downward spiral from which they never fully recover. The core issue is that as we age, our sense of balance, muscle strength, and reaction time naturally declines silently. We don't always notice these slow changes. You might still feel stable, but then a small moment of imbalance can have major consequences because the body no longer recovers as quickly. Worse still, the fear of falling leads to more falls. Many older adults, after a near fall, start avoiding movement. They stop walking, avoid stairs, limit activities out of fear. But the less they move, the weaker their muscles become, the worse their balance gets, and the more likely they are to fall again. It's a cruel, vicious cycle that quickly robs independence. Mrs. Eleanor, who used to love gardening, barely left her house after slipping in the bathroom, even though she wasn't seriously injured. Fear had imprisoned her. But the good news is, falls are not inevitable. There are many simple yet effective ways to minimize the risk. Strengthening leg and core muscles through suitable exercises, Tai Chi, gentle yoga, practicing balance exercises, and crucially, making the living environment safer. Ensure adequate lighting, remove slippery rugs, install sturdy handrails in bathrooms and on stairs, keep walkways clear. Don't forget regular vision checks and reviewing medications with your doctor. Many prescription drugs can cause dizziness or drowsiness, increasing fall risk. Proactively discuss all your medications and their potential side effects with your doctor, like Dr. Miller. Fall prevention is a comprehensive strategy, maintaining strength, staying stable, and being aware of your surroundings. Because after 75, a single fall can change everything, and preventive measures today can grant many more years of independence and a higher quality of life. The fear of falling might lead to reduced movement, but ironically, this lack of movement negatively impacts not only muscles, but also another critical system, our respiratory system. Breathing, an instinctive act, is often taken for granted until it becomes difficult. As we age, our lungs also undergo changes. Capacity may decrease, respiratory muscles weaken, and the ability to clear airways becomes less efficient. This means even minor respiratory issues can quickly become serious. A persistent cough or slight shortness of breath could be early signs of chronic conditions, infections, or even hospitalization. After 75, respiratory diseases become a leading cause of death, often because early signs are ignored. One of the biggest enemies is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, which includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Smoking is the main cause, but long-term exposure to pollution and dust also contributes. Airways become inflamed and obstructed, making breathing increasingly difficult. Many older adults dismiss early symptoms like frequent coughing, wheezing, or shortness of breath, attributing them to old age. But these are warning signs that the lungs need help. Early diagnosis and treatment can slow the disease and improve quality of life. Next is pneumonia. For older adults, it's far more dangerous than for younger people. The immune system is weaker, and lungs struggle to clear pathogens. A common cold can rapidly escalate into life-threatening pneumonia. Many hospitalizations after 75 are due to pneumonia, and sometimes it leads to irreversible health decline. Poor air quality, both outdoors and indoors, is also a major risk. Pollution, dust, and secondhand smoke damage the lungs over time. Indoors, mold, pet dander, dust mites, and cleaning chemical fumes can worsen respiratory problems, especially for those with asthma or COPD. Improving indoor air quality with filters, regular cleaning, good ventilation, and avoiding smoke is crucial. A simple yet effective way to keep lungs healthy is to stay physically active. Exercise helps lungs expand fully, strengthens respiratory muscles, and clears mucus. Prolonged sitting leads to poor lung function and increased infection risk. Even light activities like walking or stretching help keep lungs stronger. Finally, getting fully vaccinated is extremely important. Vaccines for pneumonia, seasonal flu, and COVID-19 are powerful shields, significantly reducing the risk of severe illness and complications. Don't underestimate their importance. Keeping up with recommended vaccinations as advised by doctors like Dr. Adams can be the difference between a mild illness and a health crisis. Breathing shouldn't be a struggle. Caring for your lungs, strengthening them, protecting them from infection and irritants is one of the most powerful things you can do to extend both your health and independence. Don't wait until you're short of breath to think about your lungs. Protecting the lungs from harmful agents like smoke also protects the overall vascular system, a system whose damage can lead to another sudden and devastating event, stroke. The word evokes fear and helplessness. It happens suddenly, often without clear warning, and in just a moment, life can change forever. It's a leading cause of death and disability after 75, leaving severe consequences. However, once again, the crucial point is that many early warning signs and risk factors for stroke are within our control. The problem is, stroke often doesn't give you a second chance. Brain damage is usually permanent. But here's the revolutionary information. Up to 80% of strokes are preventable. This means the choices you make about lifestyle, diet, and risk factor management today can determine whether you maintain independence or face a life-altering event. Stroke occurs when blood supply to the brain is suddenly interrupted, either by a blockage, ischemic stroke, most common, or a ruptured blood vessel, hemorrhagic stroke. Brain cells begin to die within minutes due to lack of oxygen. The longer the duration, the greater the damage. Some strokes are minor with transient symptoms, but major strokes can cause paralysis, loss of speech, aphasia, memory loss, or death. As mentioned with heart disease, high blood pressure is again a top risk factor. Excessive pressure weakens arteries, making them prone to atherosclerosis or rupture. Since it's often asymptomatic, regular blood pressure checks are vital. Another major cause, especially for ischemic stroke, is atrial fibrillation, AFib, a common irregular heartbeat in older adults, often without clear symptoms. This irregular rhythm can cause blood clots to form in the heart, which can travel to the brain and cause a stroke. AFib can be detected during routine checkups, and treatment with blood thinners significantly reduces the risk. Of course, diet and lifestyle are also critically important. Diets high in salt, saturated fats, and processed foods increase risk. Conversely, diets rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and fatty fish, like the Mediterranean diet, protect blood vessels. Lack of exercise, smoking doubles the risk, and excessive alcohol consumption are major risk factors. The best approach is multifaceted. Exercise, healthy eating, controlling blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, not smoking, limiting alcohol. One extremely important thing to watch for transient ischemic attacks, TIAs, or mini strokes. They cause stroke-like symptoms, facial droop, arm weakness, speech difficulty, but disappear within minutes or hours. Never ignore a TIA. It's a powerful warning sign of an impending major stroke. Remember the acronym FASD. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call emergency services immediately. Seeking urgent medical attention, even after TIA symptoms resolve, is crucial to prevent a larger stroke. Remember the case of Mr. David, who ignored transient arm numbness and days later suffered a major stroke. You absolutely have the power to minimize your stroke risk. By controlling risk factors and recognizing early signs, you can proactively protect your brain and maintain independence. The sooner you act, the greater your chance of protecting yourself. Stroke is a powerful blow to the brain, but it's not the only threat to this complex organ. A more insidious decline, yet no less concerning, is cognitive decline and its related complications. This is perhaps one of the most heartbreaking and worrisome realities of aging: the gradual deterioration of memory, reasoning ability, and ultimately, independence. It doesn't happen suddenly but creeps in slowly, starting with small changes easily dismissed, forgetting names, struggling for words, misplacing items more often. We often tell ourselves it's just senior moments. But as years pass, these small lapses can become more serious. Managing daily tasks, paying bills, taking medication, cooking, recognizing loved ones, making sound decisions becomes increasingly difficult. This isn't just an inconvenience. It becomes life-threatening. Conditions like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia don't just affect the mind. They put the entire body at risk. As cognitive function declines, the ability for self-care plummets. Forgetting or misusing medication, unbalanced eating, malnutrition or weight gain, forgetting to drink water, dangerous dehydration, failing to recognize or communicate symptoms of illness, poor personal hygiene. One of the greatest dangers is the risk of accidents. Forgetting to turn off the stove, causing fires, leaving doors unlocked, wandering off and getting lost, misusing appliances, falling due to unawareness of hazards. This often leads to a tragic loss of independence, requiring moves to assisted living or nursing homes. The scariest part is that many people don't realize they are experiencing cognitive decline until it's quite advanced. Early signs are often brushed off, but these are signals that the brain is changing. Early recognition and action are vital to slow the process and maintain a healthy brain. So how do we protect this precious command center? The good news is we can actively nourish and safeguard brain health. Staying mentally active is key. Use it or lose it. Regularly challenging the brain by reading, learning new skills, solving puzzles, playing strategy games, engaging in deep conversations builds cognitive reserve. Regular physical exercise is also crucial for the brain. It increases blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients, stimulates growth factors, protects cells, and promotes new connections, especially in the hippocampus, memory center. People who exercise regularly have a significantly lower risk of Alzheimer's. Brisk walking, swimming, cycling, dancing are all beneficial. Maintaining social connections is also vital. Isolation and loneliness accelerate cognitive decline. Meaningful social interactions, meeting friends, joining clubs, family time, stimulate the brain and reduce stress. A brain-healthy diet has a direct impact. Focus on omega-3s, fatty fish, walnuts, antioxidants, leafy greens, berries, B vitamins. The Mediterranean or MIND diets are recommended. Limit sugar, saturated fats, and processed foods as they cause inflammation. Additionally, controlling cardiovascular risk factors, blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, getting enough sleep, brain cleanup time, and checking hearing. Hearing loss is linked to cognitive decline risk are important. Losing cognitive function is not an inevitable part of aging. By taking the right steps now, you can significantly reduce your risk and protect your most valuable asset, your brain. Invest in your brain health today. Looking back at the bigger picture, we've reviewed the top 5 causes of death after age 75: heart disease, falls, respiratory diseases, stroke, and cognitive decline. As we conclude this discussion, I want you to take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered. These 5 causes, while daunting, account for nearly the entire landscape of mortality in this age group. But, and this is the core message, the brilliant ray of hope I want you to hold on to, they are not inevitable. The sad reality is that most people don't realize how much control they actually have over their own health. They might live for years without thinking about proactive prevention until a health crisis strikes. And often, by that point, things have become much more difficult. But the truth is, small, consistent choices, starting today, can accumulate to create an immense impact. They can add to your life not just numbers on a calendar, but years filled with strength, clarity, joy, and independence. None of us want to think about the negative aspects of aging, but ignoring these risks doesn't make them disappear. Conversely, awareness is power. When you know the potential dangers, understand the early warning signs, and grasp effective preventive measures, you empower yourself to act. Prioritizing your health isn't selfish. It's the smartest investment you can make. It means you don't have to live in fear of the future. Instead of focusing on potential limitations, you can focus on extending your health span, maintaining strength, and enjoying life to the fullest with loved ones. Now, ask yourself, looking at your daily habits, are there areas where you can make small improvements? Could it be replacing a sugary soda with a glass of water? Could it be walking an extra 10 minutes each day? Could it be making that call to schedule the routine checkup you've been postponing? Could it be joining a new club or class to stay mentally and socially active? Or simply taking the time to discuss your medications more thoroughly with your doctor? Whatever it is, remember this: you don't have to change everything at once. That can be overwhelming and hard to sustain. Even one small step in the right direction can set you on the path toward better health and a longer, more fulfilling life. Start with what feels easiest and build from there. Each small success will fuel your motivation. At this stage of life, your health and well-being are your greatest assets. The better you protect them, the more you can enjoy meaningful time with family and friends, maintain the independence you cherish, and live without the haunting fear of preventable health issues. Every new day is an opportunity to take care of yourself. The choices you make today, big or small, contribute to shaping how strong, active, and self-sufficient you remain in the years ahead. Let's make your golden years truly golden, vibrant, precious, and full of life. Thank you sincerely for spending your time with this content today. We would genuinely love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your thoughts and experiences are incredibly important to us and this community, so please don't hesitate to share. Reading your comments always provides us with great motivation and encouragement. If you found this content helpful and valuable, please take a second to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and please share this content with friends and loved ones, anyone you think might also benefit from this information. Your support is the fuel that helps us continue creating quality content to inform, inspire, and accompany you on your health journey. Thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next piece of content. Live healthy, live happy, and live meaningfully